How's it going, YouTube? Andrew from Team Gladiator here. I'm going to be showing you some test hands and combos for the Zoodiac Ryzeal deck that I featured in the last video. Just going to do a few here and there, not going to do anything too crazy. Just want to, show you some hands that we may potentially get, and some combos that we can do with the deck. So, yeah, let's get into it real quick. I'm not going to do too many for this video. I might do, 3 or 4 different test hands. We'll see where everything takes us. But yeah, let's just shuffle our deck real quick. Do a quick little cut. I'm going to draw into stuff. We're going to draw a Called By. That's great for protection. We have an Ice. We have a Veiler. You're right here. And we have a Whiptail. This hand's actually really, really good. We got a lot of potential with this hand. And we have Veiler for interruption, of course. We have Called By to protect our combos. So yeah, let's get into this. So this is our starting hand. We're going to start things out first by normal summoning the Ice Ryzeal. So you're going to use the Ice effect. We're going to special summon our star from the deck. When a star is summoned, we can set a Ryzeal spell trap. So we're going to set the cross for the field spell. After that, we're going to activate the cross just to have it as an option. So sadly, what your standard opening, what you want kind of like a barrage or an Ice. That's the best potential opening you have. That way you can normal the Ice Ryzeal and you have a Zoodiac Barrage to special summon your guys. But we, like I said, we only did not draw the Barrage here, but we did have the Ice, so we still have potential here. So with this now, we're going to overlay the Ice and the star into the Duo Drive. So we're going to have Duo Drive. Normally you want to use Duo Drive to detach from another monster, but you can use it for itself. So we're going to detach the star and the Ice. They're now in the graveyard, and we're going to end up searching for a sword and an X Ryzeal. Now that you have these here, you can go ahead and special the X Ryzeal by sending an XYZ from your extra deck to the graveyard. So depending on if you're going first or second, you can send Aggregator to the graveyard, or you can send an Eclipse Twin. So we're just going to send an Eclipse Twin real quick. After you do that, you can use X Ryzeal effect to search either a node or another sword. In this case, we're going to search a node. That way you have that. And then you can also special summon a sword Ryzeal to your field. Because if you have a Ryzeal on your field or graveyard, you can special that. So we're going to use that to end up searching. And then after he is specialed, you can search an Ice Ryzeal and add it to your hand. You could also technically search a star or an X Ryzeal. You only play one star and X is limited to 1, so that would not be possible in this situation. But having the Ice, you can have that for follow-up for next turn or for potential plays for this turn, depending on what's going on. So next up, you're going to overlay with Sword and X into Detonator. Use Detonator effect to equip the Eclipse Twins that you sent with the X to the graveyard. That way you have 3 materials on your super powerful OP Zoodiac Trident, basically. So you have this hand here. In a situation like this, you kind of want more interruptions. Also, at this point in time, there's a good chance you're already used by, you're called by the grave. But depending on what they had, what they didn't use, or whatnot, you can save the Ice and the node for next turn, or you can potentially, combo off and go even harder right now. So what we can do here, we can special node. What that does is if you have an XYZ on your field or graveyard, you can special it by sending 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, or you can special summon the Ice Ryzeal by sending a card from your hand to the graveyard. So you have 2 different combos here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna special node because, like I said, you can special if you have XYZ on the field or graveyard, and then you can send 1 card from your field or hand to the graveyard to special summon a Ryzeal as well. So we can do that. We can special node. At this point, we're probably going to send Whiptail to the graveyard. Whiptail can special the Ice or the star. Ice only gets an effect when he's normal summon, and he was already summoned this turn by normaling. Star, you can only get his special summon effect once, but it don't matter. You can still special him with another guy. So you're going to special these 2 right here. Then we can overlay node and star into Chakanine, because Chakanine is you need 2 monsters to make it. or 1 Zoodiac, of course, but we have 2 level 4, so you're going to make the Chakanine. And then you can just lay over Hammer-Kong, Borbor, Tiger Mortar, and Trident. Just to have a super powerful Trident right now. Have a bunch of materials under it right there. So that is, of course, very, very awesome. And then what you can do, you can special the Ice Ryzeal because you normaled it earlier. You can only special summon it once per turn. But you already normaled it, so that is fine. So you can special the Ice Ryzeal. You can discard the Rat Pierre. And then you can... Oh, I'm sorry. That is my fault. You cannot do that. That's my mistake. I was thinking of Node, of course. So this is kind of your end field right here. You have Whiptail, you have Ice Ryzeal, you have Effect Veiler. So it's not bad. You have Detonator, Trident, you have Cross for interruptions, of course. You have Veiler for interruption as well. Next turn, you have Ice, you have Whiptail. There's definitely some plays you can do for next turn. And there you go. Let's just see if we're going to draw for next turn what we would draw. We draw into a Tanky. That is beautiful. You can Tanky into a Thoroughblade. You can normal the Thoroughblade, discard a Whiptail, draw a card. So you definitely have some plays right there. I'm still learning this deck a bit. Like I said in the deck profile of the last video I uploaded, I played it for the first time in locals on Tuesday night. So sorry if I make a little mistakes while doing a couple test hands. I'm still kind of learning it, but overall, it's not a terrible, first hand with that. All right, so next up, we're gonna do another test hand real quick. We're gonna open with a Tanky, double Tanky, a Called By, that's awesome, a Bonfire, that is fine, and an X-Riser. So this hand's not bad. But you have the Called By for protection, of course. You have Tanky for plays. You have X. You have Bonfire. But we're gonna start things off with activating the Bonfire. Bonfire, we're going to search the Ice Ryzeal, since that is your standard opening play, of course. I'm going to get the Ice right there. It's the same thing as last time. We're going to normal summon the Ice Ryzeal. We're going to use this effect to special summon the Star. Star effect is going to get the Ryzeal Cross to set that. I'm going to do a quick little shuffle. Going to set the cross, you're going to activate the cross, that way you have that play going on. You can now overlay the 2 of them into Duo Drive just like before. We're going to detach 2. At this point in time, obviously we already have the X Ryzeal, we have Called By that we may or may not have already have used, but we're going to add the sword, and then what we can do is we can add a Plasma Hold just for more interruption against your opponent. Next up, you're going to special the X Ryzeal just like before, sending an Eclipse Twins to the graveyard, and then you can use this effect to search the node. And then you can special sword, use this effect to search another Ice. That way you have some interruption on your opponent's next turn. Some plays on your next turn. While also having interruptions, of course. So you have that there. Next up, you can overlay the 2 of these guys into Detonator. You can use Detonator to eclipse the Eclipse Twins right there. So this is your field, so field in hand. Like I said, Called By is probably in the grave. You probably already used it. And then at this point in time, what we can do, we can special node if need be, going into a Trident, or into specialing another guy from the graveyard, going to Chakanine into Trident. There's a play that we could potentially do. What we're probably going to do in this situation, though, we'll probably keep the Ice and Node for some backup right now for next turn instead of using up all of our plays. But we can put the Ice and the Star back to the bottom of our deck with Ryzeal Cross to draw 1 card. So we drew into a Thoroughblade. That is a great card for next turn, potentially. At this point, we are going to set a Plasma Hole face down. So we'll have that set, but we'll just leave it up just so you can see it. And we'll kind of go from there. You can, of course, use Tanky to get a Ram if need be for next turn. And then you can play another Tanky if need be. But overall, that's our field again. Not too bad. Not the best opening hands we're getting, but they're not too bad, of course. Let's do 1 or 2 more test hands real quick. And we'll go from there. All right, quick little cut. do a 7th Tachyon, a Thoroughblade, Ice again, another Tachyon, that's interesting, and a Whiptail. So the hand's not too bad. We're going to start off with the standard play, of course. We're going to get the Ice. We're going to special the Star, and then we're going to set the Cross, and then we're going to activate the Cross, of course. Then we can overlay the 2 into the Duo Drive. Duo Drive, get rid of 2 to the graveyard, and then we are able to add an X. And we're going to add, actually, what we're going to do, we're going to add Sword, and we're going to add the Plasma Hole for interruption right there. And that is because we can activate Tachyon to return a Tachyon, or we'll return a Tachyon to the top of the deck. We'll add X, and then we'll put the Tachyon on top. That way, you know, we have still have the same amount of interaction, because at this point in time, if they were going to Ash Blossom or something, they probably would have already. So because of that, you know, your Tachyon's pretty safe, so you can kind of get 3 cards right there pretty easily. You can then special the Ryzeal, sending the Eclipse Twins to the graveyard, and that way you can add your node. And then you can special your Sword as well, and you can add your, where'd it go? The Ice Ryzeal right there to your hand. So you got that going right there. Next up, you are going to overlay X and Sword into Detonator, the Eclipse Twin. You're going to set the Plasma, well, you can set the Plasma Hole now if you want, or you can wait. We can use Cross now. We can return the Star and the Ice to the bottom of your deck to draw 1 card. I'm going to draw into a Ram. That's pretty good right there. So yeah, that's kind of your field. You can set the Plasma Hole. You have a bunch of different plays. You can do a little more, especially a node or Ice if need be. But I kind of like this field. That way you have interruption with Detonator. You have Plasma Hole for, you know, getting rid of 2 more. You have Ryzeal Cross for interruption. And then for next turn, you have a lot of follow-up. Let's just see what we would draw for turn. We would draw into a Flawless. So not too bad. There's definitely some more combos you can do, some more plays, but you don't always want to overextend, because then if your opponent does end up clearing your board, you're kind of stuck on not having a whole lot of plays for next turn. Also, with, you know, you have a good amount of interruption with Detonator, Plasma Hole, and of course the Field Spell. All right, let's do one more test hand, and then I think we'll be done for the day. Draw into Sword, Ash Blossom, Plugin, Imperm, and a Whiptail. All right, so this hand is not that good at all, sadly. You really don't have a whole lot of plays here whatsoever. You can't special Sword. You're kind of stuck with Whiptail and Plugin. This is kind of like not really good hand, honestly. I don't want to say it's bricking, but it's kind of a bricky hand. You can normal Whiptail. You really can't do a whole lot with this hand. This hand is kind of bad. This is kind of just a, you know, go into your Trident play and just kind of like sit there, honestly. Like you can make Trident here. You can set the Imperm. Plugin's kind of dead right now because you don't have anything in the grave. You have an Ash right there. So we have that there. Hopefully, you know, you can interrupt with some stuff with Imperm. You can, you know, get rid of something with Trident by detaching a material. You can add Ash that you may or may not have Ashed already. And then you go from there. Trident is probably going to go to the grave, sadly. So you're going to draw a card for turn. And you draw into a Bonfire. Depending on what your opponent has on the field, this is definitely a more playable hand. You can use Bonfire, get your Ice Ryzeal, and just kind of go off from there. So yeah, we'll just play it out just in case, you know, you probably didn't lose that turn most likely, but it's definitely was not a good thing. So you use Bonfire, you're going to Ice there. This would be our turn 2 if, you know, we survived our opponent's turn, of course. We're going to special the Star, and we are going to get the Field Spell, the Cross to set that and activate. You can then go into Duo Drive, use Duo Drive, get rid of those 2. You already have a Sword, so now you can go and get a X Ryzeal, and then we can probably get a Plasma Hole here as well. Next up, we can special the X Ryzeal. What you're probably going to do in this case, you're probably going to send Aggregator just to negate something. And you're also special your sword. You'll use your sword to get another copy of Ice, and you use your X to get your node. That way you just have some plays for the following turn right there. Also at this point in time, you know, you have the plugin that you can use just to special some stuff. What we're going to probably do is you're going to use sword and X. You're going to use it to make detonator. At that point, you can equip, like I got Aggregator to detonator right there. You can use plugin right there. What this card does, you can target one of your Exceed monsters or Ryzeal monster that is banished or in your graveyard. So you can special summon your Zoodiac Exceeds if need be, and then you special it. And then you can attach a Ryzeal card from your deck to a 1 rank 4 Exceed monster that you control. And then you cannot attack with anything that's not a rank 4. This deck is all your rank 4s, basically. So we're going to special a Trident, and then you can use it, and you can equip one of your guys from your deck, so you still have a copy of Sword. So that way you have a Trident play going on there, which is very, very nice. So you have that going there. In your graveyard, you have a Star, you have an Ice. So at this point in time, you can also potentially, you can probably, I would Star and Ice to the bottom of the deck for cross to draw 1 card. That way you have Ice and Node for backup for next turn as well. You draw into a Whiptail, and then you have a Plasma Hole. So if you survived your first turn, which was not the greatest open hand, we ended up drawing into a Bonfire, of course, you know, ended up getting a Duo Drive, a Detonator, and a Trident on the field using a plugin, and whatnot, to special summon the Trident back. Also use the Aggregator just to negate a monster on your opponent's field. So yeah, that's our test hand here. Sadly, that was not the best test hand, this last one. But again, if you end up surviving that first turn, there's a good chance that you have a very strong field going on in the second one. So comment, like the video, guys. Subscribe if you have not. I have a lot more videos coming out in the near future, a lot more different types of deck profiles, some updated decks profiles of some current decks that I've already done. And then I do have some retro Halloween deck profile stuff that I do want to feature in the near future as well. So comment, like, subscribe. Later, guys.